There is also this book.
I want to take this moment to welcome all of you to live from St. Joe's this Friday as we tune in at 7 p.m. And in a very special way today, our topic is going to focus on our youth. And as we know that they are the future leaders of the church. And today our time is going to be spent talking about the youth. And I'll be introducing the guests we have tonight. And I want to first join you. Let us join in saying the prayer. Our Father, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So tonight, we're excited to come to you in your homes, on your iPads, wherever you are, tuning in live from St. Joe's. In a very special way today, I want to introduce to you our guests. We're going to have our youth ministers, you know them, Bridge and Tom Dutton. They're going to be live with us tonight. And as you can already see, we're going to have Kathy and David Olson. And we shall be having Matt Shinnick also, and Rachel. So in our conversation tonight is going to talk about the youth ministry and what are we doing in St. Joe's? How are we doing to help them to become the leaders we want them to be? Because the time has to come whereby all of us who are here today in leadership, we shall move on. And these have to be filled by the next generation. So tonight, as we know that right from St. Joe's today, things are going well. The food pantry, you've been so much generous. It is overflowing with food because, as you know, so many people are unemployed, and that has led to an increase in demand. So we thank you very much for that, responding generously to our calls. The masses are going in very well. As you know, them schedule still the same. This weekend we have Father's Day, and there's some fathers that will be giving reflections during this Sunday to share their role as fathers in shaping their families. And we invite you to tune in like Mass on 5 p.m. It will be live on Saturday, and then at 9 p.m., 9 a.m., they'll be live giving us, or you can also share their homilies on our website. They'll be there. So without wasting more time, I want to learn into youth ministry. And I want to begin by bringing in Tom and Bridget. These are our youth ministers. So Tom and Bridget, welcome to the show. And I want to invite you to tell us introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Tom, and this is my wife.
Hi.
And we've been parishioners here now for actually 18 years. We were just talking about this. So we moved up here before our oldest, Megan, was born. So we've been here for 18 years in Libertyville, as part of St. Joe's. And just recently, a year ago, we became youth ministers here.
We have been parishioners, like Tom said, for 18 years. We've got 3 teenage children. Our oldest is 17. We have a 16-year-old, and then we have a 13-year-old. So when we decided to step into the role as youth ministers here, it's because we had a vested interest in it for our own children. And we wanted them to be raised with a youth group as a part of their religious background, so that they had other teens who were of like-minded ideas, and that they could be with and grow in their faith with them.
That's good. So I know before you stepped into the youth ministry, still before that, you were involved before. I know from our mission trips, and even if when I was talking about you too, you told me you guys growing up, you're so much involved into youth ministry. Where do you get your passion into this?
Raising teenagers is kind of exhausting, but yes, the passion definitely started for youth ministry. After we, were done with college, we were, starting in a parish down in the western suburbs, and we got involved in our local youth ministry doing service work, and we really enjoyed working with teenagers. At that time, we were only 4 or 5 years older than some of them. And it was really exciting and a lot of energy, and we just really enjoyed that. And then when we moved up here, it really continued with us. We decided to help out from an 8th grade home group catechist standpoint. I actually went on a mission trip years ago. I think it was 8 years ago that I went on one of the mission trips that St. Joe's did, and I just really enjoy working with teenagers. It's a lot of fun for me.
I agree. Before this, like Tom was saying, when we were in the western suburbs, the trip that we went on was our first Appalachian mission trip. It was ASP that we went with. And when we went on that, we both said that being in the Appalachian region, like, changed our lives. And I hear so many of the teens now say that when they go on the trip. And so I think just that energy, we get a lot of energy from the teens. We love to hear their ideas, and I really believe that being with the teams keeps you young too. So helps us.
Well, that's good, because I know you guys, you're so much involved with your 2 daughters. They're so involved, even the youngest with 10-year-old Keegan, also getting there. Even if I know he is kind of on the other side, kind of shy side. But I also know there's so many parents also of having kids, some outgoing, others are shy. So I want to ask you a question. How are you trying to open up new kids? Because what I'm asking is that, what are you doing to bring these kids together of different outlook?
So, Father, you hit on a really good point. We have 2 daughters who are really outgoing, and our son, not so much. And so at first it seemed like this was going to be easy, like, just provide programs and the kids are going to want to come and be together and stuff. And that's not always the case. It's, I think the hardest thing is getting them to come through the door, getting them to feel comfortable. And so we started this year to have a junior high youth group again. And the whole idea is that we're trying to appeal to the kids at a younger age when they are more comfortable trying new things. And so this year we have 7th and 8th grade youth group, and it's been fun because we've had this the same kind of core group of kids who have come, and we try to make it so that everyone feels welcome. There's no cliques, if you will, at youth group. There's opportunities for everybody to feel like they're important. The games that we play, it's not like, oh, if you're not an athlete, you can't do it, or if you don't know your faith enough, you can't do it. We try to make it so that everybody feels like they're on the same playing field, and also so that it feels like we kind of break a lot of barriers there. So these are kids who maybe don't go to the same school, or maybe they wouldn't be in the same friend group at school, but here we make it so that, we mix them up and they get to know each other. And just, I can speak for my son, who, like we said, is pretty shy. He really enjoys coming, and that's saying a lot, because it takes a lot to get him there. Getting him there the first time, like we said, difficult, but once he got there, there's a saying that we use a lot of times. Sometimes you have to get through the awkward to get to the awesome. And so, like with parents, I would recommend, yes, they might fight you at the beginning. Yes, they may not want to go, but the opinion that we've gotten from a lot of parents is, that it's been a great thing for their kids. So we just highly stress, get through the awkward to get to the awesome.
Yeah, so Bridget and Tom, you've told us how you're bringing these kids together and they're trying to bond. I want to ask you something. If there is a parent there, or I know even so many of our parishioners, they know we have a youth ministry, but explain to them, what do you do, youth ministry? What are they doing? Like the organization, the activities you have, everything. Can you just give us briefly about what you're doing?
I would say, like, the overarching theme is, making future disciples. So helping the teens and those in junior high, learn more about their faith, but also, especially the uncomfortable stage that they're at, is really just learn about what they can bring to their peers, even around their background, around their knowledge, around their thoughts and opinions. And we help just really foster a sense of, this is a place where I can just be me, maybe if I'm on another activity or, I'm doing extracurriculars from a sports standpoint, some of the kids put on a little bit of a persona. But what we do at youth ministry is just let them be themselves. And we do it through fun interactive games. First off, there's definitely food involved because that's an easy thing. Bring some food, bring some kids together. And then there's definitely a faith component to it, but it's really more than just, talking about or reading through the Bible to them. It's, what does this mean in my life? How can I take action? And, just a recent example, Father Martin, we're going to start talking about racism, for example, over the next 4 times that we do Life Team. So it's really practical knowledge of how you can take your Catholic faith and apply it to your everyday life and hopefully help you make better decisions as you go through life.
Well, that's good. So thanks very much for sharing what you're doing. And I must say that before you came in, we had gone through a couple of youth ministers in our parish. And as of now, you finished at least your first year as youth ministers.
Yeah.
And I hope you're enjoying it.
We are.
Yes.
Well, that's good. So I'm going to turn to David Olson and Kathy. And so David and Kathy, I want to invite you bring you into this conversation. I know you've been so passionate about youth ministry yourself. And recently you took over to be the PPC lead for the youth ministry. Tell us about yourself. Introduce yourself to the parishioners who have seen your beautiful faces and smiling faces on TV right now. Tell us who you are and why you chose to join the PPC.
We've been parishioners since 2004. We have 3 kids. Our oldest is 20. Our daughter is almost 18, and we have a 14-year-old. We've been involved with a lot of other things in the parish prior to this, but what kind of guided us to taking on this role is we're really excited with Tom and Bridget's enthusiasm and passion for what they're doing. And so we just want to make sure we can do what we can to support them, to help reach the youth of our parish.
Yeah, and before, we've been involved a lot with youth, let's say outside of St. Joe's, with Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts for 15 years now, and I did a stint with the PPC in 2012 to 2014 with community building. And so we were involved with working with a lot of the bigger parish events, Oktoberfest, startup of the outdoor mass and picnic. And then Kathy and I recently retired from 7 years of running Trivia Night. So when we left that event in very good hands, and now this is a new challenge we wanted to take on together to help Tom and Bridget, grow the youth program at St. Joe's.
That's good. So we're very excited to have you joining the PPC, and I know you've been there for a month now.
Yes.
Feels like longer.
So one thing I want to ask you, as you come to the youth ministry, what are you bringing at the table? What's pushing you to see you see that you're bringing at the table for all the teams who can benefit from your leadership?
I think a part of us is that we have, our son is going to be becoming a freshman in the fall, and he tried a couple of the events that the middle school did. He did the game night, which, like Bridget said, he pushed through the awkward, he brought a friend, and he had a great time. Then he came back for the tailgate party. He's done one of the virtual game nights. So, our children are very different. Our daughter's in the choir. She's been on the AMT trip. She's taught religious ed for 4 years, and she's one who jumps in, whereas our youngest is not one who will just jump in. So we want to make sure that we're there to encourage him to lean in and to try things. So that's our motivation.
Yeah, and we're, I mean, we've been married for, it'll be 28 years in July, and we're both firstborn. We're both stubborn, and we work well together, and I guess throughout our married life, and we just like to lean in. We see where there's a need, and we can step in and help. And I think we can help at the parish leadership level to support the program and help it move to where it should be. For as vibrant a parish as we are, St. Joe's in all respects, and we have that great mission trip, but kind of the sustained weekly youth program that we see so successful in other Catholic churches, non-denominational churches. We are going to work to get there.
That's good, and we're very excited to see what you're going to do. And one of the things I know that we're talking to you last time, you and me and Bridget, and you have a new initiative. So can you tell us some of the new initiatives, your plans you're having?
One of the, we visited Christ Church back in January at the end of the Lake Forest campus, and we met with the high school youth minister there, and spent, well, you were there as well. We spent a couple hours with him, and following that, I mean, in our meetings, we all agreed. I mean, one of the first things that we're implementing, and Tom and Bridget touched on it too, is that the faith formation and the youth program at St. Joe's didn't have a strong kind of integrative factor, and that's something that we have started to change here in the spring. And you would have saw some different things with the confirmation, and then the pandemic hit, and that kind of put the stopper on those. But we hope to definitely move forward with that in the fall. You want to talk about the teen mass?
Starting next month, July 12th, the 5 p.m. Sunday mass will be a teen mass, where the focus will be, at the message of the mass will be to the teens, where we'll have the proclaimers will be teens. We have our teen choir. But it will be nice because the message will be one that will be relatable to the teens.
And it's going to be live streamed, and it's going to be a monthly mass. And I know with faith formation, it's going to become part of the home group program for participation in that mass as well. And and it's going to be a year long. There won't be a break in the summer, so it'll be continuous throughout the year. So that's and what other things? We're looking to start a teen leadership board at the high school level. Give kids, we really want to give kids who to be able to step in and to develop their leadership skills, and also to give the youth a more direct voice in our parish, kind of as feeding back through Tom and Bridget and Kathy and I back to the parish council and the parish leadership. And something else that we want to do, and this is an ask to interested parents, we don't want to turn down anybody's passion. We want to kind of grow our commission. Like right now, it's just Kathy and I, and you, Father Martin, as the clergy representative, and Tom and Bridget as the youth ministers. But we think we can make it stronger, creating an advisory board, really, and bring in interested parents from the religious ed program and from the St. Joseph's school program to help because it's, the youth program is one and the same. It draws from religious ed and it draws from the St. Joseph's school. So that's another area where we can strengthen.
Well, thanks very much. And we are looking forward to see how you're going to help these teams, all these initiatives you're having in mind, and how they're going to be implemented. I want to go back to Bridget and Tom. We know every summer there's that mission trip, which is a service trip, really, not just a mission trip. And this year it's not happening because everyone knows what happened, the COVID-19. So what plans do you have for our teens during this summer?
Want me to answer that? Sure. Yeah. So from a planning standpoint, we actually met with the parents that were going to be going on the trip to talk about what do we do now, and we are still going to be supporting Harlan. And one of the big focuses for Harlan before the pandemic, very impoverished, high unemployment. Last year when we were there. One of the major coal mines in the area had shut down, stopped paying people, and the pandemic has just really increased, the unemployment and the poverty down there. So we're going to do two things that we're going to be announcing as soon as we nail down the dates. Number one, we're going to be supporting the food pantries down there in Harlan, and the parish we go to is actually 3 separate churches in 3 different towns. Father Terrence De Silva is in Harlan; that's where we stay. But the other parishes that they have to, or they have food pantries to support different families. And I think they're up to almost 400 families that they're supporting in the one town of Lynch. And that's going to be one focus is doing a donation drive as well as fundraising for Harlan. And then the other thing that we're going to be looking to do is Father Terrence in Holy Trinity, where we stay, is looking to really create a retreat center there. So he used to be at the University of Kentucky at the Newman Center, and he is really focused in on bringing different groups to that parish, to that community. And the way we're going to support that retreat center is doing, bed build so that there are beds already set up down there for people to come and stay for the weekend or the week like we do. So those are 2 specific things we're looking to do to support Harlan, even though we can't go down there this year.
Well, that's good because it's normally very easy for us to know it's the pandemic has struck. Okay, there's nothing to do. Let's stay home, relax. Let's stay on Zoom. Sometimes kids get bored with that also. So do you have any plans of having these kids meet, like considering all things happening now as the state is opening up, the Archdiocese is opening up also? What are our plans?
So our hope is that as the state opens up, that we will be able to meet in person with the teens. A few different things with the teens who were supposed to go on AMT. We would like to continue to meet with them. Yes, to do service work, but in addition to that, to continue to build community within that group and keep them actively a part of our AMT group. At this point, during the pandemic, so far we've only been able to meet over Zoom, but we would like to continue doing things once we can, meet in groups of 50, I guess, or more, which hopefully will be very soon. Things that we've considered doing, helping locally, maybe with the food pantry at St. Joe's, looking for local construction service projects that we can do in the area. And then again, also just things to bring the teens together. I think we all know that during this time, it's been really hard on the teens when they haven't been able to see their friends and stuff. And so not just offering them service opportunities, but just opportunities also to be together and to socialize with each other and fun activities that they can do. Again, though, based on whatever the restrictions are at that point, we're kind of, just trying to figure it out as we go, but we definitely will be having the kids meet together, and we're open to ideas. We've got kids who have been giving us suggestions, so keep the suggestions coming for ideas, not only for fun activities, but service ideas, and we're always happy to hear your thoughts.
Well, that's good, and that will help us to bring the kids also to be part of the conversation and to be part, because they have some suggestions that they want to see things happen. Sometimes we need to think a little bit like the way they think to connect with them. I want to bring in David again and Kathy. You talked about putting together a advisory board and our parents getting involved. If someone wants to join and is watching today or tonight, someone's watching and says, "Oh, that's a good thing. I think I can try it." How do you want them to respond to that? What message do you have for them?
I mean, they could contact Kathy and I. I don't know if our email or whatever is listed yet on the parish website, but Tom and Bridget, they could contact the parish office, and just somehow the message will get to us. And yeah, we wouldn't turn anybody away. I mean, we want to embrace everybody's passion and to help grow the program.
That's good. So I know some parents maybe think about, oh, maybe I can join, but others saying, well, I don't think I'm good enough. Oh, maybe I don't have time. So what message do you have to encourage them? Say, it doesn't have to be that way.
I would say that your commitment can be as big or as small. It might be like when we can all get back together in person. One of these game nights, David and I in the fall helped just be there as extra adult support. So it could be a night kind of volunteering, or you might want to meet once a month to be part of this advisory committee.
Yeah, and with any growth in the program, I mean, we could use, Tom and Bridget with the Sunday nights. We could use small faith group leaders, and that could grow organically right out of the home groups with kids being confirmed. They've been in that small faith group setting for 2 years, and we really would like to continue that at the high school level. Right now, the numbers really wouldn't support multiple groups, but that's going to change, and we will need. I mean, there's certain things that I don't like to do, and I would love to find somebody else who has that strength to focus on that. So I mean, it takes a village. So if anybody has a passion to help, trust me, we can find an opportunity for you to use that, your time and talent.
Well, thanks very much. And I know our operation as well tuning in, maybe they think about it. And I think this has been good for them to hear from you, to encourage them. And I would encourage them also, those who are watching, you can send your question through YouTube, or you can come in via Zoom. We'll bring you in, be part of the conversation. But as we talk about youth ministry, there is something I always believe in, that the one who benefits most in this ministry is us, but also the youth. So it'll be unfair for us to spend time talking about youth ministry without bringing in those who've been part of this ministry and benefited from it. I want to bring in at this moment, Rachel Tobler and Matt Shinek, because we know there's some of those youth very active in this ministry and they're growing up. I want to begin with Rachel. Rachel, first introduce yourself to the parishioners, those who may not know you.
Okay, hi, I'm Rachel Tobler. I am 21 years old. I just finished up my junior year of college, going into my senior year at Allegheny College in Pennsylvania. My involvement through youth ministry at St. Joe's has been through the mission trip mostly. So I started going the last year that we participated with ASP through CMT, and then through 3 years of AMT. So that was 5 years of mission trips. And I concluded with being a young adult leader on the trip. I was also the one that dragged my father, Keith Tobler, who many of you know, onto the trip for the first time. So it's just been a really wonderful experience for me. And I'm sad that I wasn't able to go on the trip last year, and then hearing about that the trip isn't happening this year, unfortunately, due to COVID.
So I know, Rachel, you've been going to the mission trip at least maybe so many years. Tell us about what brought you to this passion, where this passion comes from. You've been going back and back and back. What drives you, and what message do you have for those who haven't gone?
So I initially went on the trip after my freshman year of high school. The years before that, every summer I had been going to a summer Bible camp for a week, and I was no longer old enough to be able to go. So I was looking for something else to do during the summer. And my one friend actually drew me in saying, hey, we should go on this mission trip. I've heard about it from other people and it sounds like a good idea. So we went, and I met 4 of my best friends that I have had now for the past 5 years. And them, the community of where we first began going, Wartburg, Tennessee, which developed into becoming Carlin, Kentucky, the adults that I've worked with, the people whose houses that we've worked on, all of that together has kept me coming back. It's not just a mission trip, it is a full life-changing experience. So for me, finding those life skills for learning how to work in construction, developing skills for how to use different power tools, how to build a deck, how to repair a home. Those are just valuable life skills that anyone can have and are useful. Beyond that, working on issues. So I remember the first year that I went, we were trying to build a ramp, and there was no way that we could get it done with the current landscape of the house, the hill that the house was sitting on. So we had to try to figure out a way to make this ramp work for the family that was there. So learning how to collaborate with adults and the other teens on the trip is another valuable thing that I learned. I also got to work a lot with my dad, which for me was something that kept pushing me back, was having that bond with him over this trip. It's something that we bonded about so much, and I just love that I got to share this experience with him. And then one of the more important things is that this trip really helped me expand my faith. So I know the last year that I went as a y'all, we talked, I think we called them witness talks. I don't know if those are still going on the trip, but I gave a witness talk talking about listening for God's whisper. And I talked about how when I was in college, when I first entered, I was struggling to keep up with my faith, struggling to go to church, but God is able to whisper to us, and we just have to learn how to reach out and listen for that whisper and pay attention to it. And that's something that this trip helped me find, is it brought God so close to us within the community that we were creating within ourselves, but also in our service to other people. So it wasn't just one thing that kept me coming back to AMT, it's every little thing that happened on that trip. And honestly, it has been one of the best experiences of my life being a part of it.
Thanks for sharing us with the experience. And I want to know that in all things we do, there's so many people doing services out there. But so for us as Christians, we believe that's our faith driving us. How has your faith been the foundation for all things you're doing?
For me, I feel like my faith has driven me to be the best person to serve others and act as God's servant here on earth. So it's not just me acting out of my own will, it is God working through me to help other people. And I know in college, I have been a part of a bunch of different mission groups. I'm actually a member of a service fraternity. So service isn't just one thing that I do over the summer, it's something that I'm very passionate about. But what made AMT unique is that it included that aspect of faith and that extra driving force to not only serve the community, but also build my faith during the process with other people and with people in the community that we were serving. Really made it something special.
Well, thanks very much for sharing with us, especially the operationers who also have maybe kids of your age and they've not experienced this. I think it's always a good witness them to hear from you how this helped you to become the person you are today. And we appreciate your time. I want to bring in Matt Shenek because I know Matt is one of our 10s who is always active every night. We have a live 10. He's there. He's been on a mission trip, and he's been also very strong with his family. So Matt, can you share for us? Introduce yourself and share for us your experience in the youth ministry in St. Joe's.
Hi, my name is Matt. I'm 17. I'm going to be a senior at LHS. I've been involved in AMT for 2 years. This will have been my third. Then I've also been going to Life Teen for 2 or 3 years now. So it's just been really fun. It's been a great opportunity just with all the activities we do at our parish. Tom and Bridget and all the rest have been doing a great job of offering like a very wide variety of stuff, giving us a lot of opportunities to do things. That's just really been very nice. You get to kind of connect with your faith and connect with other people in the community.
Oh, that's good. So I know you're one of those people who have been coming, and you were so passionate about your small groups. Because I remember there was a big conversation. Oh, let's bring in more kids. And you guys says, "Oh, we still like our small groups." What brought that connection? And you feel you love those small groups?
I know, just kind of nice to have like there can be a lot of people all at once during AMT or during Life Teen where everyone's kind of trying to talk all at once and trying to share their ideas. In small groups, it's really nice just because then you can get your points across. You can really just have nice conversations with people about stuff, sometimes about like more serious stuff, or sometimes also just about like we might talk about movies or things like that. It's a really nice experience for everybody. I think it's really great.
That's good. I know definitely that for you, faith is very important because even your family is so involved. How have your parents formed you to become and get involved and reaching out to the youth ministry?
My parents have been very involved. Yeah, it's been wonderful. Grew up obviously in a very Catholic house. And so they kind of pushed me, like when we were first starting up the youth ministry at St. Joe's, they said I should join it. They told me I should go to all the meetings. And when I started going, it started being really fun and I started to enjoy it. So I'm really glad they pushed me to do that. We also, as a family, always did a lot of service together. We would go to soup kitchens or pads or feed my starving children. And so just the experience of doing that a lot when I was younger, we kept doing that for a while. And now I want to keep continuing that through St. Joe's and through other programs, which is really great.
That's good. So Matt, I know that for you, the day, maybe the first time you want to try out the youth ministry, it wasn't very easy. So, oh, let me go and check it out. I think there's that awkwardness. I don't know. But I think your parents pushed you. Say, Matt, you would try this. And when you tried it, I know you really liked it. What message do you have for those your friends, other teens who are out there and they don't know? I say, I don't know if this is my thing. Oh, I'm so. What message do you have for them?
I'd say honestly, just kind of try it to sort of go in. A lot of people who first come in feel awkward about it and aren't sure exactly what they want to do. But once they really get into it, you start to meet all the people. Everyone's really nice. We do a lot of fun activities. We have food, which is very nice. And then you just sort of get used to it. And then after going to a couple meetings, you start to really just enjoy everything.
Thank you very much for sharing your experience also. And the one thing I know that it's very, we always think about youth ministry as another thing. Do you also think that come to youth ministry, you're just adding on something else to do, or just feel it's just part of you now?
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's part of me. It's just one of those things where if something else starts coming up on a Sunday night, I'll try to make plans and avoid that just because it's always become such a habit to come to all of the meetings and to know that I have something. So I'm going to have to try to reschedule those plans for another time instead of skipping life night, just because it's something that you get used to. You get used to seeing all the people and just something that gets, ingrained into you.
All right. Thanks very much for being open, sharing your experience. And I know there's so many people, your friends or other colleagues who are saying, well, maybe I may try it. As long as Matt is there, maybe I think we're the coolest guy. Huh? I don't know about that. I think you are.
Maybe scaring people away, but.
Well, that's good. So I just want to thank you very much. And I want to go back to Rachel and ask you a question. Rachel, I know your father, Keith, is so much into this mission and service, and is a very compassionate person. So how did your father influence you to become the person you are today?
Well, besides the obvious of him just being my father, just watching him blossom into this role through AMT. So we both started going the first year on ASP, and I actually was the one that kind of dragged him along into it. I was like, oh, I'm going on a mission trip this summer. It involves construction. Your experience with that sounds fun. Come with me, please. And he's like, I don't know. But I pushed him to go, and obviously now he's stuck with it, and he absolutely loves it. So watching him blossom into this role and really take charge as becoming the project leader, going down on his own time to go scope out all the different projects that we can do, work more closely with the community, really be the one to structure all the different skills days that we have and become a leader for all the other teens that we worked with. For me, it's just an amazing sense of pride to be able to look at him and be like, that's my dad. He's the one taking charge of all of this. When you hear AMT, you think, Keith, he's one of the most amazing people that I know. So being able to do it with him, he really has guided me to want to be better. And it made me really sad last year, since that was the first year that I was not able to go on AMT due to my job, to not be able to go with him and not be able to share that experience with him. But when he came back, I sat down with him and I was like, tell me all about it, everything that happened. I still sat with him through some of the planning stages. So he has just really been a huge role model for me in order to shape me into who I am and really be the symbol of what it means to be God's servant and go serve other people.
Well, thanks very much for that. But I want also to ask you one question. Don't think that I'm putting you on the spot. I know you're so much close with your father, and he has hoped to become the person you are. This weekend, we are celebrating Father's Day. And which message do you have for all other fathers out there?
I guess for all other fathers out there, look to your children, look to see ways that you could be a role model to them, but also learn from your children, see how they can be role models to you.
All right, thanks very much. I know they're all listening, and I know they're doing a lot for their kids, but I think some of the fathers, some of the parents are not that involved into the faith part. They think, oh, the religious side will do that, the church will do that for them. But for you, it wasn't the case. Your father was with you all the way, same to Marcinek, experience all the way. How do you invite those parents, encourage them to step up to this role?
I think for them is to be open to this role and not just immediately shut it down and be like, this isn't my responsibility. It is the responsibility of the whole family in order to delve into your faith and to go explore different sides of your faith besides just going to church or just going to a Catholic school or just going on a mission trip. It's everything all together. So really talking with your kids about it, talking with your entire family and setting up a plan for your family to work together in order to develop your faith as a whole entire family unit, I think is really important.
Thank you very much. We have a question here for Tom and Bridget. They're asking you that what has been the hardest thing or the biggest challenge for you in youth ministry?
You're going to take this or you want me?
Honestly, I guess there's two different things. The first one would be everything this summer with not being able to have the mission trip and trying to, last year was the first year that I went on the trip, and it's an amazing experience, and everything that you take away from it, it's amazing. And now I understand why these kids just come back year after year. And so I feel really bad that the trip is canceled this year. And so just trying to make opportunities to keep the teens involved. That's been really difficult. And I would say that the other thing that has been difficult is, in all honesty, feeling like we are constantly trying to provide opportunities for the teens to get involved through youth group or through service projects or anything outside of like the AMT, and just really struggling to get the teens wanting to be a part of the groups. Again, just saying, we've got this great program, and we will get like 10 kids at it. And so just would love for people to be open to the idea of trying something new and seeing where God is going to take you if you give him the opportunity to be in your life and act through you.
Yeah, the only other thing I would add from what has been the hardest part is, when we have teens, we have scheduled teens, we have teens in sports and other activities, and now having jobs. So for me, probably the more frustrating piece is when I hear from people, well, we just don't have time for that. And I always say, well, you make time for what you think is important. And we're doing all those things too. And you make time and carve out time. And, as Matt was hinting at, like, you plan other things outside of the time when you have, youth ministry in your schedule. So if you make it a priority, and you just will be surprised what you get out of it when you put that as a priority instead of other things.
Thank you. You have another question from one of the parents who's saying that my son is very shy, but he's watching you right now. What message do you have for him?
Is that back to us again?
Absolutely.
I would say you are welcome at our youth group. We have lots of kids who are shy, and we encourage you, we invite you, we look forward to meeting you, and we promise that you will have fun and that you will meet some new friends and that you will be a part of the group, because everyone is included in what we do there.
Well, and I think it's also a unique group that we, have, or I should say a parish that we have. We have kids that, number one, go to St. Joe's School, but then they also go to other schools. So I think our youth group has a unique opportunity that when you're transitioning or getting ready to transition into junior high or into high school, this is a great way to meet other kids in a safe environment, as opposed to being thrown into, 6th, 7th, 8th grade or into freshman year where you don't know everybody, or you're now a small fish in a big pond. Youth ministry is a great opportunity to figure out, what you're about, as well as to meet different people than you currently are, in your friend circle, if you will, as a junior high kid.
Well, and playing off of what Tom just said, another nice thing with the wide variety of teens that we have, they don't all go to one school. So that also makes it more comfortable sometimes, because it's not like you're going into an established group of friends. I can give a quick example, and it actually involves David and Kathy's son, Nicholas. When we had our tailgate party back in December, I think that was December, back in December, Nicholas really didn't know anybody who was going to be there, and he kind of stood off with his parents for a little bit of time. And then all of a sudden, the high school kids, who again, it's a very eclectic group, they maybe are not all friends previous to youth group. They have met through this group, and they invited him into the circle, and they all started playing cards and having a good time. And it was like he belonged there. So there is no them and us in our youth group. We really are us. And so everybody is welcome, and we encourage you to join us.
There is another question that I have for you, that if someone is not in the youth ministry and doesn't have a kid involved in youth ministry, how can they support your cause for the food pantry in Heron, Kentucky?
We are going to be putting information in the Carpenter on ways that you can support us. Any support that you would like to offer for Harlan is always greatly appreciated. So please stay tuned in the Carpenter, and we will also be putting information on social media and on the website as well.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm going to go back to David. Someone is asking you that, David and Kathy, this question comes to you, that if someone volunteers, will there be time for a simple drink?
Yeah, water, lemonade, tea. I'm not sure what type of drink they're implying, but there would be appropriate drinks.
Although we did want to
Your
talk.
wine collection.
Yeah.
They're looking at her wine.
Oh. As far as when we were talking about adults stepping in to volunteer, we do want to make sure that you don't have to be a parent. Some of the strongest volunteers like especially on the AMT trip and with helping out, don't necessarily have a team, but they feel called to help support that. So you don't have to have a teenager in your house currently to find a spot where you can, use your talent.
Thank you very much. So we have 9 minutes left, and I'm going to go back to Matt Shinek and ask you, Matt, what message would you have for your other fellow friends from high school and LHS? What message do you have for them tonight?
Honestly, I just tell them to come to youth group or come to AMT or just to try any of the great opportunities we have at St. Joe's. There's a lot of different things you can do. If you're interested in more hands-on volunteering, we have a lot of opportunities for that, but there's a lot more stuff that's also collecting donations or just making a donation yourself. There's also just in general, you can pray on your own, or there's lots of programs online where you can help people during COVID or with other stuff. So basically I just tell them to try a couple things. Even if most of them don't pan out, there's probably going to be 1 or 2 of them that you really end up liking that you want to end up sticking with. And then hopefully those things will be something that's good for the parish and that's good for everyone.
So what do you think if they listen to you and they listen to your call? What do you think? What do they benefit if they get involved?
Honestly, there's a lot of benefits. You get to work with some really great people. And that's one of the great parts about AMT, because everyone there is so nice and so hardworking. You feel guilty, so then you start trying to work harder, which then just keeps the cycle going. But yeah, it's just you get to meet some really great people, and you really do get to see the effect. It's one of the best things about AMT in specific, just because you get to look at the end of the week and say, we made this thing. And you can look at a really nice new house or a new deck or a new ramp that you've built. You can really just see like how things have changed, which is awesome.
Thank you very much, Matt Shinek. And I want to go to Rachel right now. So Rachel, there are some friends of yours or others from college and been watching you, or they'll watch it later on. Which message do you have for them tonight?
Especially for people in college, you move away from home, you're away from the normal that you've been living with. So really find for yourself what your faith means to you. Really look introspectively and figure out what your faith is to you and how you could express it, whether it's through service, whether it's through, like Matt talked about, collecting donations for different causes, becoming a more active member of your church, praying on your own, whatever that is to you, look to yourself and try to find it and learn how to project your faith to others to really show who you are as a person.
All right, thanks very much. So I'm going to go back now to Kathy and David. Which message are you leaving all our parishioners who are watching you tonight? And maybe you have a call for them. Which message do you have for them tonight?
Sure.
I guess I would say to encourage and challenge your children, and challenge yourselves as well. I know that we see a Eucharistic minister at some of these masses with the confirmation kids and in the 7th and 8th graders, and we see how, let's say, uncomfortable some of the kids are is participating in the liturgy. And that's one of the things that we really, Tom, Bridget, Kathy, and I, we really hope to change. The teens become much more comfortable participating in the liturgy, and that they challenge themselves, and by the teens challenging themselves beyond confirmation, that really does fall back to the parents. Maybe for those kids that are just very outgoing and very self-starters, it's not an issue, but for many, they need that nudge from their parents there's so much to your faith grows beyond just a confirmation. And here you're confirmed in typically 8th grade. I was confirmed in sophomore or junior year in high school. But beyond confirmation, I mean, we're trying to create that environment for your children to feel like they belong, and create a space for them where they can grow. So,
No.
Kathy, you have any words add on that?
No, I mean, the story that Bridget shared about Nicholas, we gave him that nudge. We said, bring a friend, and he didn't have a friend who could go. And we're like, well, still go. And he went, and all it took was one of the older teens saying, Nicholas, you want to come play? And then he felt very comfortable joining them.
And I would just add to it, I don't think we've said it, and sometimes we get kids, it's like Tom and Bridget were talking to kids, bring a friend, but your friend doesn't have to be a member of St. Joe's, or does not have to be even Catholic. I mean, that diversity of faiths is so important, and it helps everyone grow to have that diversity of in thought and faith. So again, if your kids say, well, I don't know anybody, well, have them bring a friend.
All right, thanks very much, David. I want to end with Tom and Bridget. Which messages do you have for Operation as we're watching and tuning, listening to you?
I think one important thing that we would just love for parents to hear is that, we understand that your kids have been in religious ed, children's faith formation, and a lot of times parents like to check off the box. They've made confirmation and they're done. They've kind of finished what they need to. We encourage you to have your teens continue on. By the time they're in 8th grade, they're at a point where they're kind of just doing as they're told still. And all of a sudden high school comes along and they're starting to question things, and they're starting to wonder why we do what we do, question authority a little bit, question why they believe what we as Catholics believe. And so this is the time we can start to answer some of those questions. And again, youth group is a safe place where you can ask those questions and get answers. And it's not like, they're bad because they don't understand something. But if they stop their faith, stop the education, I guess you could say, of their faith at 8th grade, they never start to question, to truly own their faith and to live that faith.
Yeah, and I would say, now is the time to continue that foundation as a parent. It shouldn't stop at confirmation. And these are really the future of our parish. All the youth of the parish are the future. And when they get older, they're going to be exposed to different backgrounds, different faiths. And if they don't have a solid grounding on their faith, that's when we start losing them. And that's when we wonder why at 25, plus years old, we don't have them at Mass anymore, is because we didn't have a solid foundation. So, help them understand that it's important to continue that faith. It doesn't stop after confirmation, and that it's a part of how or who they are and who they're going to be in the future is a well-grounded Catholic disciple.
Yes, thanks very much. As we come close to the end of our program, and I want to also thank very much all our hosts, our guests. We have Kathy, David, Tom, Bridget, Rachel, and Matt. And I would like to encourage the parents also. We sometimes think that our kids have grown. So he doesn't like to go to church. But if your kids come and says, Mom, I don't want to go back to school anymore tomorrow. I'm never going to say, oh yeah, that's cool, just leave it. Oh, well, you'll figure it out. I think parents will push you, say, you have to go to school, you have to do your homework. The same thing happens with in our faith. Parents have to keep on pushing their kids, helping them. Sometime they realize how good it was for them. So otherwise, I thank you very much for your time tonight, and let us close with a prayer, thanking God who has given us his time, also sharing this time with everyone. Let us all say, glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. The Lord be with you, and may Almighty God bless you, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Have a wonderful night and hope I'll see you someday during the weekends.